The story begins quietly, almost invisibly, the way many tragedies do. A 4-year-old Florida boy leaves home with his father for what is supposed to be a short New Year's visit to Alabama. No warning signs, no public concern, just a holiday trip wrapped in routine. But somewhere between the celebration of a new year and the return home that never came, something went terribly wrong. Days later, the boy would be reported missing. Weeks later, he would be found dead. And now, according to court documents, the person who brought him on that trip, his father, is facing multiple felony charges. But even with arrests and legal filings, the most important questions remain unanswered. What actually happened during that visit? And why does this case still feel unfinished? From the outside, the timeline is disturbingly unclear. The child was last seen alive while in his father's care in Alabama during the New Year holiday. At some point, the boy vanished. But what has troubled investigators from the start is not just the disappearance. It's the silence that followed. There was no immediate call for help. No urgent report of a missing child as the hours passed. No frantic public search in the critical early window when children are most often found alive. Instead, time slipped away. Why? When authorities were finally notified, investigators say the father's account of events raised immediate concerns. Statements were vague. Details were inconsistent. The timeline appeared to shift with each retelling. And in cases involving missing children, inconsistencies are never just small mistakes. They are warning signs. Police began searching for the child, but they were also searching for truth. Where exactly had the boy last been seen? Who else may have been around him? What happened inside the home before anyone realized he was gone? As the investigation unfolded, hope slowly gave way to dread. The search ended with the discovery of the boy's body. The news confirmed every parent's worst fear. The child was no longer alive. But death alone did not answer questions. In fact, it opened more. Investigators turned their full attention to the father's behavior before and after the disappearance. According to court documents, authorities believe the child may have suffered harm prior to being reported missing. They examined phone records, location data, and witness statements. They analyzed what the father did and what he didn't do. Did he seek help immediately? Did he tell the same story to everyone? Did his actions match the urgency of a parent searching for a missing child? Prosecutors now allege that they don't. The felony charges filed against the father suggest investigators believe this case goes far beyond a tragic accident. While specific charges outline alleged criminal conduct, they stopped short of fully explaining how the boy died. That gap is unsettling and deeply significant. Was the child injured accidentally and then concealed? Was there abuse that escalated fatally? Did fear override responsibility in the moments when help could have been sought? These are the questions that hover over this case, unanswered but impossible to ignore. Court documents reportedly detail actions investigators say were meant to obstruct, mislead, or delay. If true, that raises another chilling question. Why would a parent try to control the narrative instead of saving their child? In true crime cases involving children, investigators often say the truth is hidden not in what's said, but in what's delayed. And here, delay appears to be central. Hours matter. Minutes matter. And in this case, time vanished along with a 4-year-old boy. The fact that the child's body was ultimately found does not bring clarity. It deepens a mystery. Where was he during the missing period? How long had he been there? And most haunting of all, was he alive when help could have been called? As the legal process moves forward, prosecutors will attempt to build a case piece by piece. But legal guilt and factual truth are not always the same thing. A conviction may come without full answers, or the trial may reveal details so disturbing they permanently reshape how this case is understood. And then there's a human side. The part court documents can't fully capture. A 4-year-old boy trusted the person responsible for protecting him. He depended on adults to keep him safe, to speak for him, to act when he couldn't. That trust was broken. Whether through action, inaction, or something more deliberate, the outcome was irreversible. The child will never start kindergarten. He will never grow into the person he might have been. His life ended quietly, without witnesses, without answers, and without the urgency every missing child deserves. As this case continues, more filings will emerge. More testimony will be heard. More evidence may come to light. But even then, there's a real possibility that some truths will remain locked away, known only to those who were there. Will the father testify? Will forensic evidence clarify the timeline of death? Will witnesses come forward with information that changes everything? Or will this become one of those cases that ends in partial justice, where charges are resolved, sentences are handed down, but the full story is never publicly told? True crime often confronts us with uncomfortable realities, that harm can happen inside families, that silence can be as dangerous as violence, and that children are sometimes failed by the very systems meant to protect them. This case forces another question, one that lingers long after the headlines fade. If this had been reported sooner, would the outcome have been different? As the investigation continues and the court process unfolds, this story is far from over. Updates will come, details will shift, and with each new revelation, the same haunting uncertainty remains. What really happened during that New Year's visit? Stay connected. Follow the case closely, because unresolved cases have a way of resurfacing, sometimes years later, when someone finally breaks their silence, or when evidence speaks louder than words ever could. And when the final verdict is delivered, will it bring answers, or only confirm that some questions were asked far too late?